All right, there we go. Hello again, everybody. This is Derek, and I am coming back at you with some Wargaming in miniature. And today's Wargaming Weekly, what I'm going to be doing is painting on my 15mm German field battalion. Swap these out. So I can get started. Okay. As you can see, I've got a paintbrush on the ground. Okay. That's a giant paintbrush. There's one of the bigger ones. That's what she said. No. Do. Okay. Getting rid of the blue magic that was on that brush, holding its shape. I'm gonna get my brushes ready for prime time. There we go. Yeah, so I have some figures and bases just thrown in here But these were originally based for, not for Flames of War, even though that's kind of what it looks like. They were originally based for a game that I was playing called Battle Group. And I was collectively basing them so that I could move them around the table easier, right? So they wouldn't be individually mounted figures. And I've recently gotten into O Group, and I've decided through infinite wisdom that I am going to rebase whatever figures I need to rebase for O Group. This will not stop me from playing Battle Group. It just means that I'll be using smaller bases and to move them around collectively, right? So, because O Group is going to be the standard, it's the mid, because I'm really going to be playing probably 3 games with the same miniatures, the same basing. I'm going to be playing Command Decision. I'm going to be playing O Group, and then I'll be playing Battle Group. Right? Okay. Now, did I switch glasses? I did. Okay. All right. Last night I made up my new palettes because I always wrap my palettes with aluminum foil, and I had gone through every palette already, so I had to replenish that. I also went out and cut some MDF. I got 30 of these in the various sizes. I know, it seems like a lot, right? So I cut some MDF, right? At various widths and lengths, and there's a more narrow one, and then I had some larger ones, and every one of these, well, I'm thinking around 25. When I was cutting, I cut each board, which was a 30 millimeter or 300 millimeter square. I'm not going to say 12 inches because it's just a few millimeters short of 12 inches. I cut them into 6 different, I measured and cut with a jigsaw, like in half, and then at various widths. So, like, every one of them is 6 inches long, or shy of 6 inches long, and but they have various widths. And 2 of them are like 6x5s, so they're pretty gigantic when it comes to what I'm going to do with them, and that's make town sectors, or I should say, built up areas, right? Which is basically a town sector. I don't think I stirred that up. Bear with me. I've got some, I'm not going to say hot, it's kind of like warm apple cider. It was an instant powder. Pour hot water and enjoy. Yums. Okay, so let's get started. Let's get started making. Oh yeah, I ordered this a long time ago. It's a tool shed. Well, you can't see it. It's a tool shed. It's laser cut micro plywood. This thing is N scale, which is a 12 mil. And I'm going to tell you right now, I ordered a slew of 10 mil buildings, or maybe they were 12 mil. 10 or 12. And not for my Napoleonics game, because as you know, I've decided to do my Napoleonics with actual 15 millimeter figures, 15 millimeter, let me rephrase that, with actual 15 millimeter buildings. Even though I had considered 10 or 12 mil buildings, that was my original plan, was to make a rigid town sector 4 inches, put a building in the middle of it, and then when you occupy the building, just put your figures around the building, and that doesn't look good. And it's too rigid on the size of the town sectors and stuff like that. So I decided to go with kind of a flexible, okay, now something I like to remind my viewers, I'm not painting for you. I'm painting for me. Now, if I was doing a tutorial or something like that, then yeah, I'd understand. That would be painting for the video. But in today's video, I'm just trying to knock these guys out. I don't really need to knock them out. But I want to get them out of the way, get them finished, then I can move on to the next project. Okay, I'm still working on those 28 millimeter French Napoleonics for the commission. I'm doing those step by step. I have some of that work off camera. Some of it is during these these weeklies. But I can actually move faster off camera. So I'm moving faster with his commission off camera. Speaking of his commission, I did some bullet counting, and he came up with 4 extra bases once I put the command figures in. So I contacted him and let him know that if he wanted, I could add 8 figures from my collection, and that would give him a whole nother battalion. And he said go for it. That's good. Now, some of these guys, almost 99% of these guys, are wearing their combat boots. But there are a few of the NCOs and officers, I think they're all officers, that are wearing the jack boots. You got to kind of skip over those guys. So I went to war bases and ordered some 2mm MDF bases. Not the Flames of War small size bases, but some 30mm squares, I think. Oh my gosh, I don't even remember. And some round bases, some big round bases, like 2-inch. Now, I already have some 2-inch 3mm bases, which I actually think might work better because there's something to grab onto. You know, it's got a base, and I need these 2-inch circles because O Group uses a unique mechanic, which at first I thought was stupid, but then the more I kind of opened my opened my mind, become a little bit open-minded, and kind of dug into the whole reason why that rule was there about the combat patrols. I started to fall in love with it. I was like, oh, this is like really smart. A unique way to do this. I mean, I've played games where you had dummy counters and you had a blind, like I move my figures on a map, you know. I've played games where you had referees and you knew where your figures were or your units. And this combat patrol mechanism resolves all of that. It basically rolls all of those concepts into one mechanism. Okay. Now, all I needed, I mean, I could have printed out on paper, you know, some combat patrols. I could use coins, you know, like pennies or quarters or whatever, to represent combat patrols, but that doesn't look good on the table, right? More figures is better. Now they recommend a 2-inch disc. To represent your combat patrols. I've seen people use poker chips, which are 39 millimeters. But the rules say 2-inch. And that makes your combat patrols fairly large on the table. When an infantry squad is represented by a 1-inch base, or is it 1 1/4? Yeah, I think it's 1 1/4. And so I've also seen people just get like discs, 2-inch or whatever, and write on the disc, first company, second company, third company. Which that works out really well as well. That allows you to track which company is being represented by those combat patrols. But I'm gonna there's other people, or I should say, there's an alternative, which is the way I'm going to adopt it because I'm a stickler for punishment. I'm going to make 2-inch circles, but I'm also going to make each one for a total of 9 per battalion. I'm going to make each one a little scouting diorama. Because that's what these patrols are. They're basically scouts out. They go out ahead of your companies looking for the enemy, looking for ambush. Because if a combat patrol is out there and the opponent shoots and destroys it, they have not killed any platoons or squads. They've only killed the combat patrol. And then you just resummon it the next turn. So you send those out, and if they get to where you want them to get to, then you can deploy an infantry platoon into the location that the combat patrol is located at. somebody was saying that you could put armor on that as long as it's on a road. I don't remember reading that. But then again, I haven't read every rule yet. And I might be getting some stuff wrong. I'm sure I am. But I thought it said armor doesn't deploy where combat patrols are. When they deploy from the edge of the table. But I guess unless there's a road does kind of make sense. I'll just have to go in and rejigger it. Now, I think reconnaissance vehicles, like a 234 or something, or a Jeep, can appear on a combat patrol. But I don't remember. So the whole reason why, there's a couple of reasons, but there's the main reason why I've got all these figures that I need to paint, because I thought I had enough figures already painted to do a battalion. And when I started, and that's with 3 figures per section. Once I started actually putting them on bases, not gluing them, I just kind of was organizing. I realized I was about 30 figures short of having all those patrols, because I want to put figures on these patrols. So that when you're moving your combat patrol around on the table, it actually has grass and figures. Maybe a little bush here or there. Now, I am kind of struggling a little bit on whether or not I want to put 3 figures on my bases. I think I do. That's kind of what I'm aiming for right now, is 3 figure sections. But I could get behind a 2 figure section. It doesn't matter, the mechanics doesn't matter how many figures you have on a base. And if I go with a 2 figure, I wouldn't need to paint as many figures. Right? But you're sacrificing the figure count, would be sacrificing possibly appearance on how those bases look. Oh, I didn't drop any water in this at all, did I? Okay, I was wondering why it looked the way it looked. Okay. Now I pulled some of my support elements out. And there's a couple of artillery, a couple of 105s right here. And like I said, I'm a stickler for punishment. There is no need to have artillery pieces on the table. There's no need to have mortars on the table. Those are all considered off-table assets. Maybe a mile or two behind the lines. But it's kind of recommended that you track your artillery barrages because you get a limited number of them. And they say if you get 3 barrages, put 3 artillery pieces next to your battalion headquarters, and then as those fire missions are called in, you just remove one of the models. Basically, you count them at they count as a marker, a token basically, to show you how many artillery barrages you have. And I was like, oh damn, I'm doing that. Because, like I said, I'm a stickler for punishment. Plus, I want to have them because you never know when I play a game where they're actually on the table, like on D-Day. When the paratroopers jumped in and they happened to land on or near the artillery. And there are no artillery. Not artillery. There's no airborne rules in the game. Now, there is morale, and so I could vary the morale of the paratroopers. Make them better than just first rate or like veterans. I can make them, have a good morale. Platoons in this game are abstracted anyway, so I don't see why I would need to change anything. They operate in fewer squads, but those squads are larger, like 12 men, but that's really like only when they're full strength, like maybe Market Garden or something. But D-Day, they would have been ad hoc, right? But that doesn't matter. Just put them together. Some people say maybe use the rule where instead of 2 platoons, instead of 3 platoons, you put like a 2 platoon company out there. So there's some suggestions on the forums on how to handle paratroopers. The rule book says paratrooper rules are in the works. You know, they'll release them at a future date. They only have like early war France, like 1940, mid-war Russia, they call it a Barbarossa. I think that's what the book is called. And then they've got a later war Normandy book. I noticed that O Group is not all inclusive. Like they don't have a book of army lists for every theater or every type of unit. They're very limited on that. But you know what? I'm not playing that kind of a game anyway. So, like point driven, tournament style. So it doesn't matter to me. I would look up, what I plan to do is look up a historical battle, find out what was there, or what could have been there, and write scenarios, write my own scenario. I can even make hypotheticals. Because World War II was kind of a big deal. And there might have been battles, small little battles that we are not really aware of. I mean, they're probably documented somewhere. And I could have like a attack on village X. And then at that point, I would use the points to kind of help me balance the scenario. But it wouldn't be a point-driven game. It would just be, oh, so they think that this tank is worth 10 points? Okay. I would have gotten started a little bit earlier today, but I was up very late last night. Handling something. Now this is going to be a field division, a Luftwaffe field division, and I'm going to be painting them kind of a mixture of Luftwaffe blue and splinter camo. Now, it's basically just a German infantry battalion. Nothing like special about the organization. It's going to be organized kind of like a grenadier battalion. Well, it technically is a grenadier battalion. It's just Luftwaffe grenadiers. So I'll be able to use them, even though they're painted as Luftwaffe. I'll still be able to use them as Panzer Grenadiers or whatever. I mean, I'm sure that I'll paint up some Panzer Grenadiers, but hypothetically, let's say I'm playing a very large game, maybe at a convention, and I needed 2 Grenadiers. I could pull this unit out as well. Now, when it comes to, because remember, I'm planning on playing 3 levels. And the highest level that I plan to play is Command Decision, where each base represents a platoon and not a company. I'm sorry, not a squad. I'm not sure if the transition from one game to another, figure-wise, is a 1-to-1. Those guys are all in jackboots. Okay, good. I'm glad both of them are the same. Yep. Now, you can see how much wasted space is on this base with these figures. Yeah, that tells me I need a smaller base. I'm painting them on the base because I had already mounted them on the base originally. But I plan to pop them off and attach them to a smaller base. But I thought to myself, why pop them off now and put them on a popsicle stick to be painted when I can just paint them on the base and then pop them off and, avoid the whole step of the popsicle stick. So basically I'm painting these on these bases, but they're not staying here. They're going to get moved to a smaller base. Now, supports like that machine gun, I was thinking that I would just mount it on a regular small base, small Flames of War base, because that is what I'm putting all of my infantry on, or these small Flames of War bases. But I'm struggling to decide, which I don't have to decide now because I'm not mounting them. But I was struggling to decide if I was going to put just the machine gun team, or am I going to include the little NCO officer, the third figure. So I think I need to consult my battle group rules, which I think a machine gun team is 3 men. So if I mount them with 3 figures, then I can just use it in battle group as well. So I might need a base that's a little bit larger than is that a jack boot or is that a combat boot? It looks like he's got a gator on there. Now these anti-tank guns, they don't have to be rebased. They're already on a base that I was going to put them on. So they're good to go. Same thing with the infantry guns here. I got some 75mm infantry guns. And if you were curious, I'm using chocolate for the boots. Combat boots, that is, not the jack boots. Chocolate. Also, a field battalion can be used as a Hermann Göring battalion, Hermann Göring division. My understanding is they were a Luftwaffe field battalion as well. Yeah, these are like Flames of War gunners and an Old Glory howitzer. Now I've got some mortars. These are 120s. Now, the Normandy book included rules for 120 mortars. And if you were playing a point-driven game, you can use 120s instead of your howitzers. And if you do, you get an extra 120 mission. It's like if you're willing to sacrifice your 105s, to be 120 mortars, they'll give you a bonus fire mission. And that's why I have two 105s and 3 120s. Because apparently in the late war, which is what I play, the Germans only get 2 fire missions with their artillery. Ammo shortages and all that. Now these don't count as battalion mortars. These are considered regimental. Yeah, battalion mortars, my understanding is you have like an unlimited number of fire missions with your battalion mortars. All right, that's everybody's boots. It's not everybody's boots. I lied. I skipped over all the jack boots. Okay, I'm going to have to go close the door. It's a little chilly outside. And look at me, I don't have any sleeves on. I might throw a sweatshirt on just to cut back this chill. Bear with me, I'm getting dressed over here. And another reason why I started a little late today was I had some shipments that needed to go out, and I didn't realize that until this morning. And then I looked up and they said, "Oh, you got some shipments." And I was like, "Oh, okay, damn it. I need to get on that." Okay, so let's go with a dark gray. Maybe a dark gray. And I'm going to paint the jack boots. If I can find them. I must not have cleaned this table off very well. Yeah, because when I was breaking those other figures off of their bases, um, some of the grass and foliage and stuff like that was on the table. I thought I'd cleaned it all off, but okay, you jackbooted thugs. And again, because the I haven't painted their pants yet, it doesn't matter if I go outside the lines or anything. Yeah, I hope that dries a little bit darker. Well, with the wash and everything, I'm sure it's going to be darker. I just put a little spot of gray on the base as well. Doesn't seem dark enough. Okay. Give me a second, let me see if I can't. You know, that looks dark. Then again, yeah, it does. Okay. Give it a shot. I have something called black gray, which sure how those two colors are very similar, almost exactly the same. Yeah, that might actually be a better color. Okay, I'm doing a color comparison here. Luckily, there was two figures on this base that had jackboots. They're exactly the same. Dark gray and dunkelgrau, which is dark gray in German. I still don't think they're black enough. Yeah, I still don't think they're black enough. They're too... Well, they're not dry yet, for one thing. This guy's... As he's drawing, it's getting darker and darker. Okay. Okay, they do look different. I mean, I don't know if my camera will catch that, but you can see the one on your right is a little blacker than the one on the left. The one on the left is a little gray, right? But again, neither it is a little bit drier. Oh, before I go on, I think I want to let those dry. Maybe just a minute. Nothing too drastic, you know? I could try a figure with black gray and see if that looks any different. Because I don't want to paint my boots black. That is I never do that. I always paint them dark gray of some kind, and I keep forgetting like which dark gray I use. See, this black gray looks green to me. Looks like it's got some green in it. Well, I don't like using black gray. I just put it in the middle there, a little dot. Doesn't that look like it's got a little bit of green in it? I mean, there's smoke black and there's rubber black. And they're they're not pure black, but they are still pretty black. There's also tank crew uniform. Tank crew uniform is blackish as well, but it's more black. Yeah, just looking at that black gray, it looks like it's got green in it. I don't know. Yeah, those aren't dark enough. There is something called German gray, but that's always been like like a highlight for black. I've always used it as a highlight for black. Um, let's try this smoke black. Nope, not that one. Okay, that's not pure black. That has a little bit of a gray into it. Okay. I'm actually liking smoke black as a jackboot. Oh yeah, for sure. Put a little on the base. Hold it so there's some lighting. Yeah, that's a much darker, which you would expect because it's called black, but this is the dark gray, and then there's the smoke black. You can tell it's got some gray in it, but it's a lot darker. And at arm's length, it looks good. It looks really good. Now, these are only mortars, which means they're just markers. Okay, dark gray, get out of here. Smoke black, you're in. There's not a whole lot of guys with jackboots. So I ordered the models from Flames of War. Every one of them, they're basically all tanks. And they're all going for sale. Got some Russians coming in, some T-34s. Some others. I don't remember if I ordered American or if I ordered German or both. I did order a pack of small bases because I didn't think I was going to have enough to do all the rebasing. I have quite a few small bases. I mean, I've got a lot of them. But I just wanted to make sure I had enough, so I just went ahead and ordered some more. Now my Panzerschreck teams, those are only going to be 2-figure bases, so they can go on a small base with no problem. But my medium machine guns, I don't think they'll fit on a small base. But I also don't want them on a medium-sized base, because I think that's too big. So I think we're going to go somewhere in between with a 30 millimeter or 30 millimeter square, which is, that's 30 millimeters. And it won't be half of a base. It'll be just a little bit more than half of a base. Now I've got some 30 millimeter squares, but they're less than a millimeter thick. And I wanted something a little thicker. So War Bases offers 2 mil. I think I ordered them. I hope I ordered 30 mil from them. 30 mil squares. Rounded corners. Still waiting for my Litco order to come in with my movement trays. I think in war bases, I think I also ordered some 25 millimeter circles. Because, like I told you, I was wanting to experiment with different base sizes and materials for my oath mark to see which ones fit in the movement tray the best. Okay, which brings me to another order I put in. Boeta. Boeta has some large flames of war bases with objective terrain kind of bases where, like, some of them have like rubbled ruins, some have like roads that go through them, others have like wilderness, like a tree, uh, barricade, a bunker. And so I ordered, I don't know, a handful of those. I don't remember exactly how many. But basically, I'm going to use those as my battalion headquarters. And that's another one of those models you don't have to have on the table. But it's good to kind of set it off to the side uh, on your side of the table, and then when you know, it kind of represents your battalion orders that you get, and you can keep track of it using your headquarters and a D6. Going a quick glance at these figures, see if they all have the brown combat boots. And if they don't, then somebody's got a jackboot, probably. And I ordered some 2-inch circles with 2 millimeter. So I already have some 3 millimeter ones, which might be better for the combat patrols. hearing mail outside. I ordered some more magnets for my armored vehicle turrets. Okay. We're going with, nope, not that one. Luftwaffe uniform, World War II. What you would expect from a field battalion. And this is pretty much going to be pants. And jackets on a lot of them. But a lot of them have camouflage smocks on as well. So I have to be cognizant of that. Now, I have field blue here, which is what I normally paint their Luftwaffe helmets, Fallschirmjägers, or, Luftwaffe units. But I also know that, and there's camo covers on a lot of these guys as well, but I know that they camouflaged a lot of their helmets. With a color very similar to this. This is Middlestone. And so all of my previous, all my other painted field battalion figures have the field blue already. And so I'm thinking I'm going to paint these guys with the Middlestone. And then, because when I go to rebase, I'm going to intermix them. Okay, like this guy's got a camo smock on. Okay, I don't think this Luftwaffe uniform's blue enough. Looks more gray than anything else. It's got the blue look to it. It does have the blue look. Yeah, because I don't want to use a dark blue-gray. That's just too blue. And I thought about using field blue. That's probably the right color, actually. Yeah, this field blue is probably the right color. Okay, I'm going to experiment a little bit. This is Luftwaffe uniform. It doesn't call it blue. It's just Luftwaffe uniform, World War II. So you would think it'd be exactly what you need. But it might be a good highlight. I mean, it's kind of got a grayish blue, but it's, I don't know. Field blue, huh? Yeah, the Luftwaffe uniform just looks too gray. The field blue looks like what I've seen in pictures. There's the two dots. There's the two differences. Luftwaffe, field blue. Yeah, I'm going to do field blue. Luftwaffe uniform. Again, you're relegated. Okay. Where's my paper clips? Oh, okay. We're still on the old paint rack. Now I gotta find some place to put them. Okay. Ah, there we go. All right, let's get this show on the road. Play around enough with this field blue. Yeah, it's so quiet in here right now because normally I have my headset on and I'm listening to a podcast or something while I'm doing my painting. Oh, yeah, this field blue is definitely where it's at. Some of these figures, it's hard to tell if it's just the regular jacket or if it's a camo smock. On others, it's super easy to tell. And I'm just slathering it on. The only thing I'm trying to really avoid is the boots. Because again, everything else is still going to be colored another another color. So yeah, they're going to be mostly that color. That's pretty cool. So I went to battle scale, picked up some small scale buildings. Because when I make some town sectors or built up areas, I'm going to build them with N scale 12 mil or 10 mil buildings. There's a couple of reasons why I decided to do that. And the main one was space, the final frontier. I needed space in the town sectors, place figures, and storage and all that. So I tried to decide like what would be the optimal uh, built up area size of a base, of like the ones that I cut out, 5 inches, 4 inches, 3 inches, or whatever. And I came up with 6x5 is pretty large. And I've got some 6x4s and 6x3s. And so they're various sizes. And then I thought putting figures in those with a 15 millimeter building, there's just not that much room. I don't know why I'm doing front and back. Now I know without a shadow of a doubt that I didn't paint my field battalions with field blue. the ones that I've already got painted. They're probably field gray. And with maybe some field blue helmets. So I might touch a few of them up, just before I start attaching them to bases. But I also might leave them because it'll just give the units like a variety of uniforms. I don't want it to be like that, though. I don't think I want to be ad hoc. I mean, if it was the 21st Division, I might do that. Now the jackets are already just camouflage, so that I don't have to worry about. It's really just their pants. So I think I'm going to go through and touch up their pants with some field blue. I thought about taking all my pre-painted miniatures, the ones that I've got up there, and just putting them on a popsicle stick of their own. And then kind of working our way through these and those. I think I started saying this earlier and then I got just sidetracked. But I thought I had enough figures already painted to do a battalion. But then I realized I needed combat patrols. And then when I started putting the light machine guns, MG42s, with their loader and with their ammo bearer on a small base, it just didn't work, right? Because they were all prone. Every one of them that I had already painted were prone, and they just don't fit right. I mean, you could turn the base sideways with just the loader and the gunner, and it fits fine. But as soon as you try to put the ammo bearer on the same base, it becomes too crowded. So that's one reason why I wanted to order those 30 millimeter bases, because then I could have my light machine guns on those 30 millimeters. But then I remembered that I had a whole, I don't know, like 5 sprues of grenadiers still in the box. I mean, still in my tub. And I went through them and I found these figures right here, which are machine gunners that are standing. So I can still use the ammo bearer with these standing machine guns. And I could put like another guy, another ammo bearer or something, or just a rifleman on the base. Because it's really unnecessary to even identify light machine guns. They're supposed to be there, so I want to put them there. Okay, those guys look good. So I found 9 standing machine gunners. And then because I wasn't going to be using the loader, I had to get 9 regular infantry guys. Just filler for the base. And then, so that's where most of these figures are, is combat patrols and figures for standing machine gunners. Because then I can put them on the exact same small base. They'll look like they belong in that platoon. Medium machine gunners, because they're an attachment, I can put them on those 30 by 30s. And that'll look good. And then my Panzer Shreks, I was thinking I'll just put them on a small base. That'll work. Now my officers, company commanders, we already know my battalion commander is going to go on a vignette. He's going to go on one of those headquarters bases. But my company commander, I was thinking 2 figures on a round base. Like the commander and maybe a radio man or something like that. But then I thought, well, maybe that base should be a little bit larger. Maybe I put 3 figures on it, but it's still round. And maybe it's 30 millimeters in circle. Or maybe 2 figures on a circle. Because it'll basically just make the fact that it's a company commander stand out and not get lost with the platoons. Okay, now, are these camo smocks? I think those are. I think that is not. Yeah, that doesn't look like one. Okay. Okay, that is definitely a camo smock. But it looks like his sleeve is sticking out. It looks like one of those, not tarps, like ponchos. That's it. Yeah, he's wearing a camo poncho. Okay, what about you on the end there? What are you wearing? Just a normal uniform. Oh, okay. Plus, the Germans have this German battalions. Like, if I just make this a German battalion, which it is, there's an option to have a fourth company. So that's why it would be good to have a little bit extra. Plus, there's engineer options, assault platoon options. I think both of those guys are going to get camo smocks. I think almost all these guys. Okay, not him. And the camo is like not hard. It's just going to be a little time consuming because of the patterns. But I'm not one to really concern myself with that so much at this scale. Okay, I think this guy has also got one of those ponchos. Yeah, because when I was clipping him out, I said, oh, this guy's got his sleeves rolled up. No, he's got sleeves. It's just there's a poncho that makes it look like he's got his sleeves rolled up. Now, I thought about taking some felt and making some plowed fields. Using felt and caulk, some Alex. I'm already going to be putting caulk slash Alex on some felt. I mean, I put it on there for roads, and that actually seems to have worked out really well. I'm going to make some more felt roads. Yeah, like not camouflaged. Okay. I'm just excited that I'm going to be able to play a game at the scale that I want. Battle group's fun. Bolt action is fun. But they're just skirmish. And it's... And I... Skirmish is okay. Like I said, it's fun. But I like the... I like... taking of... or thinking about larger scale actions. You know, like command decision. And this is kind of a happy medium. It's large scale, but it's also kind of small scale. So I'm excited about it. Like every armor can be represented. Well, that makes sense. The company commander with the combat boots has a smock on, where the company commander with the jack boots is just wearing a field blue uniform. Yeah, I want to do Fallschirmjägers. I wanted to do SS, Panzer Grenadiers, British Infantry, British Para, U.S. Infantry, U.S. Para, and if I really get froggy, maybe Russian infantry, I don't know. I think I missed a boot. I'm going to fix that while I'm still looking at it. chocolate, right? Yep. Just a small little, barely a drop. Okay, that boot is fixed. Now, I would suspect, I could be wrong, that these artillerymen are not wearing camouflage. If it's hard to tell, I'm going to default to not camo. For the cruise. Alright guys, it's almost 1 o'clock. I've been on here for a couple hours. 2.5. I appreciate you coming in and hanging out with me this morning. There might be more tomorrow. If you haven't noticed, I've been uploading. I've been editing and uploading my Sarissa buildings assembly guides, and then afterwards the painting. I still have a few more to upload. And I noticed that some of the videos are missing in that, like there would be a jump from being just starting painting a couple of colors, and then all of a sudden we're at the end. So I tried to explain what colors I used to get there. That's going to look good. Luftwaffe artillery, yeah. Alright, so I'm going to finish these off camera. We're going to end the video right here, because I'm hungry and I want to have some lunch. Alright, I'll catch you in the next one.